about the show. I'm your moderator, Bryson Wallace, and if you like that song at the upset there, that's actually courtesy of another Geth head, Jared Sparks. That's the song Ambiguous by his band Don't, off of the album Forget It. Their stuff can be found at don'tme, DONT.MI.bandcamp.com. Our logo, courtesy of R.E. Clifton, the very talented R.E. Clifton, always helping us out here with the streams that we do on Geth Heads. And if you'd like to make any contributions as a fellow Geth Head, feel free to hit me up, Bryson Wallace, in Facebook, wherever. We want to make this as much of a collaboration amongst Geth Heads as possible, so definitely feel free to reach out to me if you've got like music, fan art, whatever, suggestions, let me know on Facebook. But I want to get to my guest tonight. Very excited to have him with us today. We haven't seen him on the show physically since probably the public access years, so I have a couple questions for him. If you have any questions for him, please be sure to leave them in the comments. Please welcome to the show David Bluvband. How you doing, David? Hey, so we haven't seen you on camera since like the public access years, I believe. You tell me if that's wrong, but what people may not know is that you're still very much so involved with the show. And so I wanted to, at the top here, I just wanted to ask you, David, about your experience being involved in the show over the years that you have been. What has been your personal experience through the evolution and certainly into these new True TV episodes? How have you been enjoying it as a human being? Yeah.
Pull off.
Gotcha. I am so sorry, David. In my haste, it looks like your audio was off at the onset there. I always run into some sort of minor audio issue. If you wouldn't mind, give the folks a little digest of what you were just sharing.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, you know, the big difference for me from like what I've noticed is just the things the crew has been able to pull off from public access to, you know, from going from public access to television. You know, we can do bigger things. We can like have a show where the stage rotates now.
Yeah.
And Michael Ian Black and Old Sheldon. Or we can have Timothy Simon's theater critique show. What was it called?
Metro Pass.
Rail Pass? Metro Pass. So great. Stuff like that. Like huge set changes like that. Things that the crew can pull off. It really feels like that's a huge difference between public access and television. It's just like it feels like a bigger magic trick every week that we have to pull off.
Yeah, you'd hardly be able to imagine the public access years when I think Chris was just paying for stuff out of his own pocket to pull stuff out, to pull stuff off. And last night we're giving away cars on TV, and Justin's gonna drive cross country now.
It's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts. It's pretty much how only I've been involved with the show for 8 years at this point, almost. So that's a huge evolution. In that amount of time.
You became involved with the show during its run on stage, correct? Do I have that wrong?
Sort of. I was more a fan at that time. I would occasionally participate in a couple of bits on the stage show. I did a March of Dimes episode where we donated some money for humiliating challenges. Which actually Sashir, Zameda, and Nicole Byer and Keisha Zoller were all a part of that show as well. And Keisha, Sashir and Nicole are guests next week.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that episode. That's going to be great.
That's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
Awesome. We've got a couple of questions coming in from folks. Henry Rivers just asked, what are you thinking and what do you think would be a good place to start watching improv comedy? I'm assuming we mean live improv comedy.
Say the question again.
What do you think would be a good place to start watching improv comedy? Like, what venues maybe would you recommend in New York, say, for checking out improv?
Definitely UCB. That'd be a good place. The Magnet's fun.
Yeah.
All those places are great. They have a lot of great shows. I've mostly been to UCB, but I've seen shows everywhere.
Yeah. Cade, a Geth head and actually a buddy of mine who is a recent transplant to New York from California, he asks, what's your favorite place around New York that acts as a metropolitan oasis or a place you can go and get away from it all?
Oh, wow. I love the Hudson River.
Yeah.
I think going out to the Hudson River is like one of my favorite places to walk. Because Hudson River Park pretty much extends all along, what do you call it? Like, 12th Avenue, sort of past 11th Ave. And it stretches all the way from Chelsea Piers to... I've walked all the way from Chelsea Piers up to 72nd Street, and it's so nice. That's that's my own personal Manhattan oasis.
Cool. Let's see here. What's your favorite? Which accomplishments and/or aspects of your career are you most proud of so far? What are your goals for the next 5 years? Says Caitlin.
Oh God,
that's a big one.
Ooh. Oh man, I realized you'd be hitting the heavy questions today.
Let's start with what are your accomplishments that you're most proud of?
Well, definitely the Chris Gethard show. That's something I'm very proud to be involved with. It's an incredible experience. It's truly a remarkable. I like every day I wake up and I can't believe how lucky I am to be involved with such an amazing show. I feel like I really stumbled ass backwards into all of this, and this was just I couldn't be more grateful. It's an incredible. It's a wonderful thing when you can get to be doing a show that started off, it's the Gethard show I still look at as like, when me and Riley Solner would wait online to see the show together and talk about what we were excited about seeing and what we were going to see, and we would like, and me and Riley would see shows a lot together in the early days of like when we were taking classes at UCB, and it's really cool that you can do that as a job now and like look back at all of those times when we were all hanging out and really enjoying this weird thing, and we invested so much time into it, and we wanted to be involved with it so much that now we can make it a part of our working lives. It's like it's everything I ever wanted as a kid, just to like do weird stuff as a day job. And,
yeah, absolutely. And you
totally avoid real work and responsibility, and just get to play dumb characters all day. And I mean, truly, that's like it may be a little gauche or whatever to admit openly, but I think I consider myself very lucky. I'm very fortunate. I love working on the show. It's like that's something I'm super proud of. But pride's also like I like to say I hesitate to use pride because it seems like I did more than I feel like I really did.
Okay.
I'm very happy. I'll say that. I'm extremely happy with everything. Like pride, and I'm proud to be like, as far as pride, I'm very, very blessed for lack of a better word, but like, you know, I feel it's more great gratitude than anything else. Like,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. And I'm happy for lots of stuff, and as far as like my career goes, it's just like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing any of it.
So I mean, speaking of your career specifically, people saw you in the Marvelous Mrs Mazal recently.
Oh yeah.
So lots of people posting screen caps of that in there. How was that to work on?
Oh, that was amazing. I was so excited to work on that. I was a big Gilmore Girls fan when I was a kid.
Absolutely.
I'd watch it with my dad. Yeah, I'd watch it with my dad sometimes. He liked it a lot. I was one of those things where like my friend Charlie Walden told me about this show on Amazon Prime. I think it was like, the end of 2016. He was like, you gotta check this show out. It's right up. He was like, it's right up your alley. It's all about like 1950s New York, which is any time period in New York, I feel like is my aesthetic, and the more old timey, the better. I have an affinity for period pieces set in New York. And I was like, oh, I got to watch the show. And I loved the pilot. I was like obsessed with it. I thought Rachel Brosnahan was phenomenal. I love the writing. I thought it's that Gilmore Girls back and forth, you know, Amy Sherman Palladino banter that I really love. I love the way she writes, and I love the way the characters talk. And I was like, you know, one of those things where like you email your managers and like, oh, it'd be really fun to read for this show someday. And you know, that's another lucky thing. Sometimes that happens. And sometimes you get to read it. And sometimes they like you. And sometimes they ask you to work on the show. And then you get to tell people how cool it is to work on the show. And it's fun. And then that's the best part. And that's my favorite part about it. It's just like getting to do it, and then getting to tell people how fun it was to work on it. And it's like, oh, Amy was awesome. She we were like watching her set up the shot with the director of photography was really cool, and getting to like, we shot in the Music Inn the West Village, which is a real old music like record store. Mm-hmm. And it was just, you know, such a small space with the, you know, the camera was really cool looking. I loved every. You were
nerding out while you were in the scene about the camera.
I was like, it was like a thing where I got so excited. There were times where I had to remember I was doing my job. Like I had to remember this. Oh, yeah, I'm working. I can't fan out this much. I was just like getting excited about everything.
Yeah. We had a question from Ari Clifton asking if you have any advice for people who have a fear of releasing their content to the world, whether it be writing, photography, paintings, etc.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah,
just release it. Believe me, I'm like a master procrastinator, and I've one of my biggest regrets in my life, I think, not in my life. That's far too hyperbolic, but you know, when I was younger, I made a short film, and I never showed it to anybody, because it was like, it was you know, I made it when I was 20, so I was very like, you know, I know what I was doing, and I asked a bunch of friends to help me make it, and then I was like way too self-conscious about like releasing it into the world. And I think it's like, it's never productive.
Yeah.
You never get to share what's inside you. You know, and I get that. That's like, that's an act of self-preservation, which is important as well. You know, definitely don't ever feel pressure to share something if you don't feel like you want to or need to. But if your goal is to create material for yourself, to create, maybe if you want like maybe if your goal is to create content, then just keep putting it out there. You don't learn anything by not doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it always helps to at least learn and then fail. And then, you know, because self-preservation is important, but the biggest way to grow is to keep failing. That's actually a big thing I learned from Gethard. Because, you know, Chris Chris taught improv at UCB for a long time. And I was a student there, and I was on a couple of house teams, the improv teams that he had coached and directed. Yeah. And he was admittedly notoriously, like, he was a hard note giver. Like, he gave notes that, like, at the time shook you. So it was like it was very heavy stuff at that time. And it was like, but his big thing was just like, you can't be afraid. And you can't hold, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it play for the stage, not for the seats. That's a big thing he would say. And then play for yourself. So if you're going to put anything out there and you really love it, and you really want to share it, and the only thing holding you back is fear, then I think the only thing you got to do is just like release it into the world.
Yeah.
And you have to see what comes out of it.
Yeah. That's I've heard that secondhand from other UCB instructors out here in LA that had Gethard, was that his notes were very like just
oh yeah,
brutal.
They were no joke.
Yeah,
they were no joke. He would give. I remember one of the worst shows I ever had in my life was a team that I adored, like some of the most talented. That's the thing about, like, UCB or any improv team that you belong to that's a part of an institution or a theater, if you're, you know, listening to anything, the pressure is mounted on you to represent that space. Yeah. So anything that, like, I'm in the early days of UCB, like when I was, not the early days of UCB, in my early days of UCB, when I was coming up through the system, everything was still very like, how to put it, very theater school pressure, very like almost like conservatory-esque, like just like notes weighed heavy on you. Yeah. And teachers like really wanted to instill a sense of like, are you learning this? Like, what's going on? Like, and it was a very so like Herald teams were held to a very high standard. Gethard coached a lot of teams at the time, and he coached one of my teams. And I remember we did a show so bad, he gave us like 45 minutes straight of just like, this is why this show failed. This is why you guys didn't support each other the way that improvisers are supposed to. Yeah. This is why, this is why you weren't playing to the best of your truest abilities. This is why you weren't trying your hardest. It was like a thing of like, you know, because improv, you can rest on your laurels very easily. And it was like the first time, and it was like the first teacher I had that was really like, that held something super silly. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna open the door for somebody. I'll be right back.
Okay, we got a quick door opening break. Go ahead. I got you covered. He's just opening up the door for somebody. We're getting a look at his Captain America thing on his bed there. I'm realizing that his shot is flipped. Let's take a moment while he's gone to flip his shot. Oh no, I flipped the logos, everybody. Let's flip him.
Hey, sorry about that.
We all good?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Good. Well, while we're talking about UCB and everything there, David wants to know if someone wants to do weird game-changing performance, is UCB the best place to start, and is there a better route to take?
UCB is a great place to meet very talented, ambitious people. Yeah. And there are lots of places that are great places like that. I would say, like, as far as like game changing, I wouldn't think too hard. I never think too hard about that. I just want to do what's fun. Yeah. Whatever's my my interests are always fleeting, and I get bored with stuff very easily, and then I like forget ideas, and I'm all about doing stuff that's fun in the moment. So like, I would say like, if you want to go to UCB, do it for the best reason you can, to meet people.
Yeah. To
like create a circle of like support. Because it's create a circle, like a friendship circle of creative people. That'll help you a lot. It's just great to surround yourself with people that inspire you and are talented in different ways that you are not, or like that you maybe lack, or that you admire in other people. It's always good to be surrounding yourself with very talented people.
Yeah, even in the sense of like collaboration and everybody kind of lifting each other up and, helping each other out on whatever they're working with. It's just kind of a communal way of helping spread the creativity, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so that's the best reason to go there, in my opinion.
Yeah. R.E. Clifton asking, what's your favorite camera to shoot with? What?
What's my favorite camera?
What's your favorite camera to shoot with? Let's see. Hold on. Let's currently. And is he planning to put on a show, or does it, or do you do it as just a personal escape? I think we're talking photography in general. What's your favorite camera to shoot with, and are you doing a show, or do you just do it as a personal hobby?
Right now it's a personal hobby. I've done like sort of photography for friends before, and it's mostly a hobby for me that I like doing. I like collecting old cameras and working with film, and I'm doing all these like things with model clay right now. That's been interesting, and I don't know what's really going to become of it, but it's mostly just a creative outlet to like sort of. It's meditative more than anything for me right now.
Yeah. I follow you on Instagram. I've seen the are you talking about those clay guys that you've been posting on there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's adorable little dioramas of the teardrop shapes and anything else that you put on there. I love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I call them the dumpkins.
Dumpkins?
They're the dumpkins.
Dumpkins, okay.
Yeah, they're like little dumplings, but like little pushkins.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a merchandising deal in no time. That would be great, wouldn't it?
The next Beanie Babies.
All about that money. Let's see.
That's talk about creating content.
Yeah. So what's your favorite camera to shoot with, to get back to that point?
Oh, I love that's a good question. I have this twin lens medium format camera called a Mamiya C3 that I love a lot because I love shooting in square like that. And I love and it's built like a tank, and I took it to Ireland with me, and it was like snowing and raining the whole time, and I took some amazing pictures of the cliffs of Moher with it, and it was really fun to use. And
awesome.
It makes me feel like Vivian Maier, the photographer with the very sad life, whose documentary came out a couple of years ago.
It made you feel like a photographer with a very sad life.
No. She had a very particularly sad life. But I think what I loved about her was she never showed her pictures to anybody. Oh. She like lived this like. Yeah, I don't know if you know the story. She lived this life of she was this nanny in Chicago, and she was a hobbyist photographer that mostly kept to herself, and she was very like an isolated person. And so she passed away in anonymity, and then a filmmaker had found her photographs undeveloped in an auction, and then just decided. Like they ended up like he was there, and her pictures are gorgeous. She took a lot of pictures of like hundreds, like almost, I wouldn't say thousands of pictures that she just never showed anybody. And I think there's as much like, and that like to me that I like to read and watch I like to read about or watch things about very sad things, sad events.
Yeah.
And the saddest thing to me is that she lived this life of anonymity without anybody seeing her wonderful art that she created into the world.
Yeah. And it wasn't until it was found after her death that he even found its outlet.
Which has its own beauty. It's very,
Yeah.
it's like wonderful. I forget this documentarian's name that made the movie and also found her work, but it's really cool that you can leave things in this world and, like, you know, people somehow find them and care about them.
So in researching for talking to you today, I came across your LinkedIn, and I wanted to ask you, amongst many interests, being that this is the only interest of yours listed on LinkedIn, talk to me about your interest in the QVC.
Oh, that's yeah. So that LinkedIn was made when I was 18 years old, when I was looking for a job, avoiding going to college.
Yeah.
QVC. My mom is a jewelry designer.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother works for. She has her own company and she sells merchandise via QVC and other home shopping.
Oh, that's awesome.
Network outlets and stuff. And I made that mostly as like a thing to be like, hey, if anybody's interested in hiring, really trying to milk the nepotism as like far as I could, of like, hey, look, I'm interested in whatever you're willing to teach me, and I'll do my best.
Yeah.
I grew up around this stuff, like I can figure it out, and it was I didn't get very far with that attitude.
No,
but I did end up selling stuff for my mom in Australia, which for sure I could do it if I wanted to.
Well, selling stuff for your mom in Australia, meaning on camera, or just you were on a home shopping network in Australia?
Yeah, my mom sent me to Australia to sell some of her jewelry on Australian public television. So they flew me down, all expenses paid, to Australia, to Sydney, to do this. I did it for, I had 2 shows, both sold out, and
good work.
Miraculously, I don't know how. And I've been desperate to find this footage.
I was going to ask.
Because it's like, my mom, I know my uncle taped it when it was on, but this was like on the, he like, what is it? He recorded it on his computer. Okay. So I don't know, but I don't know how to get this footage. I've been asking my mom if she can like get it, but like, yeah. If I get that footage, you'll be the first person I show it to.
Okay, thank you. See, the 2 follow-up questions there was, how long ago was this, and how old were you when you were on public television?
2011.
Okay.
2011, and I was 22.
Okay. And selling your mom's products, selling out both shows, but we need to locate. So 2011, I was worried that your uncle recorded this and it's on some like Betamax tape somewhere, but
no.
Okay.
No. It was recent enough. It was it was actually like, I had told Gethard that I was doing this, and because he had asked me to do a bit for the show. It was like it was a rock opera for Michael Caine's grandmother, and I was like so excited by that idea.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I can't do that, man. I'm gonna sell. I originally thought I was going to sell X-Men watches, because that's the other thing that apparently somehow my mom told me. My mom told me that I would like either be doing this or selling stuff for her company.
Okay.
And I thought I was going to sell X-Men watches in Australia, and Gethard was like, "That's the best thing I've ever heard. Go do it." And it was like, cool. But that was So I didn't sell X-Men watches. I just sold very high-end jewelry, very high-end rings.
That is so good. I really hope that footage can find the light of day, because that would be fantastic to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna cringe if it does resurface somehow. If anybody in Sydney can find this, definitely like let me know. That would be a big way.
That's true. The
yeah.
audience is growing. So there's always been international fans of the Gethard show, but if there's anybody from Australia that for any reason happens to have a lead on the footage, definitely let us know. Well, I won't take up much more of your time tonight. I appreciate you doing this. Before we end this deal right now, is there anything that you'd like to say to the Geth heads at large before we end?
Yeah, thank you so much for all your support. You guys are the reason this show is as big as it is right now. I mean, it's like the fan movement of this show is incredible. It's taught me a lot, and I'm just so appreciative of everybody. I mean, it's such an incredible, and it's such a tight knit group of people that have found each other too. It's wonderful. I just say thank you and keep finding weird stuff and posting them on the thread because on the Facebook group because I love seeing it, and we all do. Like,
oh no, David's left the call, and now it's just my face. David, how did I lose you? Well, you were in the middle of such a... Oh boy, this is a whole ordeal, you guys. Let's hopefully see if we can catch him in the next 2 seconds. Otherwise, that'd be a bummer. Somehow, some way. Oh no. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap it up. That's too bad. We'll get David's hot takes later on. Until next time, everybody, it's been great. That was wonderful. I'm going to try to find that footage. Please help me find that footage. I swear. Eloise says, Persephone, please.